Hi, in this video I'm going to show three things. First, how do apps feel like from a user perspective? How does interop and automation come into play? Second, how easy is it to build Lix apps? What do developers need to do? And last but not least, what are the current limitations of Lix and inlang respectively? Now, let's get started with number one from a user perspective. How does interop and automation come into play? Everything I'm going to show is based on our go-to-market product inlang, which makes globalization of software simple. So let's get started. I'm a developer right now and I am here in the pipeline. I'm coding stuff and I got the task to extract hard-coded strings from our code so that they can be translated. Now, usually a very manual task. I have to copy and paste this, manually take it out here, translate this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Too much effort. I know that in the inlang ecosystem, there is an app called Sherlock that makes it easier for me to automate this task. I installed Sherlock, and when I installed it, I can just, boom, extract this here, happy Easter, random name. We're gonna automate that in the future even more. If I've done so, Sherlock automatically saves the extracted message now in the inlang file, which we see here, website.inlang, and I don't have to, I just spared like 80% of the work. Jupyter Notebook, again, we're gonna automate that step even further in the future, and voila. I'm done as a developer in this step here. Sherlock even gives me further information like this is the text you extracted, and why is there an error? Oh, the German translation is missing. This is really nice because if I wouldn't use Sherlock, let me deactivate Sherlock for a second, I would have no awareness as a developer that with this code, something is actually wrong. This is what I would see without Sherlock. Hey, I have happy Easter and Jupyter Notebook. I wouldn't see whether there are messages missing or translations. I wouldn't see what they extracted to, and so on and so forth. Okay, anyways, let me re-enable Sherlock. I'm done with my task. Extracted messages. Let me commit and push this. I'm going to open a pull request. We are now at the end of my coding task. I want this change to happen on main. So let me create this pull request. Everything happens on GitHub at the moment. And now something interesting happens. We're in the next step of the pipeline. So let me get this here. We trigger an automation with, we call the app Ninja, but Ninja is now checking, hey, are there missing translations? And indeed, it flagged now in the pull request that I, as a developer, you cannot merge this to main, there are missing translations. If I would merge it to main, chaos would happen in production. Users would complain that there are missing translations. Marketing would complain about dropping conversions. Bad idea. All right, I just got my automation that there are missing translations. I don't want to machine translate them for now. I just want my translator to translate the stuff and be done with it. Here comes the interop into play. As a translator, I'm going to use the Think app now, which also just loads this inlang file in this repository, and I can directly contribute to the same pull request that the developer created the change in. So let me do this, contribute via Think. It clones the repository into the browser. What you see here on the right is Git running in the browser, and every change I conduct here happens locally. Anyhow, I am a translator now. Let me make this a bit smaller. I'm a translator now, and I'm going to create my translation. Yes, I want to machine translate. Willkommen auf unserer Website. Wir sind das Unternehmen hinter inlang.com und Lix. That seems right. I can push now. There are no warnings left. So let me push this. I directly push it to the same PR you can see here, update the translations via Think, and the CI/CD action will rerun. We see that Ninja is rerunning here, and Ninja will then soon unblock, yes, this PR can be merged because there are no missing translations left. Boom, Ninja is done. If I refresh, we see that translations have been updated. Nice, this is ready to go. What you just saw is interop between two different apps, namely Sherlock and Think. There was no manual send me a file. There was no manual hey, translator ping via Slack or something. No, this all happened in the same workflow of both the translator and the developer. Designers can come in as well. We have an app for designers as well called Parrot, but for the sake of the demo, I'm not going to show this now. We're done with the review here. Translations seem good. We have change control. We see exactly what changed here. So that's good. Let's merge this and we're done. This is how easy it is to collaborate across different teams in one pipeline. Let's look at number 2. How easy is it to build Lix apps? As a refresher, the appeal of Lix is that it brings backend features to files. And if it brings backend features to files, what do developers need to do? Well, here's the answer. For us, building the go-to-market product inlang, all we need to do is define a new file format, and we're going to look into it. And what it is just a file, just the data structures. For Git compatibility reasons, it's JSON files. In the future, it's going to be an SQLite and so on and so forth. But we just need to define the file format. And having version control, having something that can merge changes in files, automatically enables collaboration. It automatically enables change history. We can see how this stuff changes over time. So building an app is really easy. Just define your file format and drop it into Lix, or Git compatible. It's Git compatible at the moment. So drop it into Lix and you're done. Now let's get to number 3, current limitations. One limitation you already saw is Lix is Git compatible at the moment, which means that we can only store things in text files. Ideally, we would store our messages in an SQLite file, in our inline file. That happens in the future. That's one limitation. The second limitation is, well, Lix runs in the browser. You saw with Think that it clones entire repositories in browsers. And that is relatively fast for small repositories. But once we reach large-scale production repositories, like our mono repository, for example, this is our mono repository, we quickly find that cloning a repository takes a long time. The reason is that Lix does not have, or we've been working on it for 3-4 months, having lazy cloning and automatic sparse checkout. It will come, but that's one limitation. For really large repositories, it can take a minute to clone a repository. Number 2, on inlang side, we don't support complex messages like gendering or pluralization yet, which are a hard requirement if you want to translate applications. And number 3, well, to spare resources, we're completely Git compatible at the moment, and we use GitHub as our host. The problem is that if I'm a translator or a designer, I need to create GitHub accounts. And creating GitHub accounts is surprisingly complicated for non-technical people, and GitHub itself is just built for developers in mind. So our distribution and user experience is hurt among non-developers. That is something we're going to tackle in the future with our own Lix hosting platform, but those are 3 major limitations that we have at the moment. Lix does not support lazy fetching at the moment. It will in a month. Inlang lacks basic features such as gendering and pluralization, and generally to spare resources, we're leveraging GitHub as the host for Lix repositories, which are Git compatible. That leads to several workarounds and degraded user experience among non-developers, but we're going to address those in the future. All right, to recap, from a user perspective, you have interop and automation because apps just share a file. And the reason that those apps can share a file is, well, if you drop a file into a change control system, you automatically get collaboration around it. Last but not least, we have several limitations at the moment due to Lix not being feature complete, missing sparse checkout and so on, and inlang missing basic features, yet developers love us. In the future, we're going to build our own Lix hosting platform. All right, that's it for the demo. Of course, the pipeline you saw here can be much more complex. We have more apps in store. The Interop works across every app.